Today I'm going to be talking about the insulin signaling pathway. Showcased above, when a person eats food, the food is chewed and broken down by the saliva. The food then travels down our esophagus and into the stomach. Once in the stomach, our bodies break down these nutrients into amino acids, sugars, and fatty acids so that they can be used for energy. When glucose levels get too high, the B cells within the pancreas releases the hormone insulin shortly after eating food containing carbohydrates. Insulin manages and regulates the concentration of blood glucose within our bloodstream. Most individual insulin will bind to specific receptors on the plasma membrane located in in skeletal muscle cells and adipose cells. The interaction between insulin and its receptor forges its way into the cell and triggers changes in metabolism within the cell, including glucose uptake, due to an increased concentration of glucose. This is called the insulin signaling pathway. The insulin receptor is made up of alpha and beta subunits. Now I'm going to go through the steps to the signaling pathway. Insulin binds to the alpha subunit of the insulin receptor and translates to the beta subunits. The beta subunits have tyrosine kinase domains that activate to phosphorylate each other and other proteins. IRS1 binds to the phosphorylated tyrosine, which causes the phosphorylation of IRS1. The phosphorylated sites act as a binding site for PI3 kinase. PI3 kinase phosphorylates PIP2, which is a membrane phospholipid. The addition of phosphate turns PIP2 into PIP3, which works as a recognition site for the PIP3 dependent protein kinase. PDK1 phosphorylates AKT, which is another protein kinase. This relays a signal to the interior of the cell and leads to the recruitment of more glucose transporters from intracellular vesicles. These glucose transporters allow for glucose to channel through into the cell, decreasing blood glucose levels. Once in the cell, glucose is metabolized further to produce ATP and used to synthesize molecules of glycogen. If the insulin signaling pathway fails to regulate blood glucose levels or cannot produce insulin in the pancreas from the B cells, this can result in type 1 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes occurs when the insulin receptors no longer recognize insulin molecules and the glucose in the blood becomes much too high.